As you were answering that about dressing well, I'm thinking over here like, shit, I dressed up today for today. Usually I got a backwards hat on and like flip flops.
I just argue that Oklahoma is
You just like to argue though.
It's verifiable, like it is in the southern line. And
did you have any preconceived notions coming into this field that were proven wrong?
first of all, I had no idea about this side of the business. You know, again, defense was my entire life.
Logan Quirk here with Denè Jones. Denè, thank you for joining me on your set today. We just wrapped my podcast where you interviewed me, and now I get to steal this beautiful set to ask you a few questions.
It's exciting. Thank you.
I was trying to type out an outline, and I couldn't get the accent over the E.
That's okay.
Tell me about the accent on the E.
I was just born with it. I mean,
Was there a story behind it?
no, not really. I guess late in life I found out I was there's a girl in our hometown who I've met later in life via like Facebook. But my mom really liked her, and she decided to name me after her. So it's the exact same spelling, and then to find out we share the same birthdays.
Oh wow.
She's just like
She's your twin.
20 years older.
Oh, plus
but I
20
would
years.
love to someday sit down with her to see if we're similar.
Yeah.
But
Your
other than
astrological
that,
signs
there's
align?
no significant.
Okay. You said your town. Where is your town? Where'd you grow up?
So from the South,
Ah.
from Oklahoma, and yes, it's from the South and not from the Midwest, just so FYI.
What's the distinction there? Why do you have to make that emphasis?
Everyone believes Oklahoma is actually the Midwest, but it is in the southern states.
So what's
So I have to argue that actually all the time.
what's the cutoff line in your mind?
Well,
Like what constitutes Midwest? What about Kentucky? Is that a southern state?
Kentucky, I believe, is the South. That's pretty self-explanatory.
No, it's kind of like in the mid part of
Like
the country.
Chicago's Midwest.
Okay.
But Oklahoma, Texas, Kansas, like heading on up, that's South.
Okay.
Alabama's.
Well, obviously, come on. I was thinking more of the border states. Like, is there a I don't want to say like the Mason-Dixon line, but is there a boundary in your mind that you delineate as South versus Midwest?
I just argue that Oklahoma is
You just
the
like to
South.
argue, though.
It's verifiable, like it is in the southern line, and so people love to correct me. And they're like, "That's actually not the South; it's the Midwest." I'm like, "Actually, it's not."
Yeah.
But continue.
Are the people that argue that point not from Oklahoma usually?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll give you that one then.
Yeah. We have sweet tea. We have.
It's a southern state. Sometimes your southern twang comes out when you're.
It does. Certain words, certain pronunciations, it happens.
Okay. So what brought you out to the West?
My parents came out here a lot, starting when I was probably like 10. And then everyone moved back out. And at 17, I came out here for college and stayed on. It was California's home.
California's home? Give me, I don't want to go into too much detail, but give me a rough sketch of your professional background, starting with wherever you want to start.
Insurance has been made like the whole, I would say the whole pie of insurance has been my entire career. Mainly defense until I got into PI. Starting as an insurance agent, I worked for Allstate. You were in good hands with me, actually.
There's a few attorneys I know that affectionately call Allstate All Snake. So
Yeah. I'd always, I worked for corporate Allstate, and so I wrote insurance for not only California, but I had 46 non-resident license, and so I would write for all the other states. And anytime people got the renewal bill, they would get very angry, and they would tell me what our good hands did to them. And they were not very good hands. I was like, that wasn't me, sir. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, corporate.
But mainly, but insurance, so all aspects. So from writing the policies, and then after I left Allstate, I got into Medicare compliance for the carriers that we now sue.
Sorry, that just sounds so boring.
Oh my God, I'm such a nerd. I love that
I
stuff.
just had a visceral reaction on my face.
You're like,
Yeah, your Medicare compliance.
No, I love it. Any rules and rates, I just nerd out on that
Okay.
stuff. But so from there, I went on the work comp defense side,
Uh-huh.
and then now like PI. So
S-
insurance has been my entire.
So how did you come from the dark side to the good side? I have no bias, obviously.
Um, I started working with a firm who I didn't actually know I was getting on PI.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to help grow his California markets. And then once he hired me, he was like, actually, I want you to help me grow my LA PI side. And I'm like, wait, what? Like, you just like bamboozled me.
What's that?
Yeah, I didn't even know. And, but then, once I started meeting the people, especially the LA community, and I got over the shock and awe of it. They're suing all my clients who I rolled out compliance contingencies
Yeah,
for.
yeah.
I fell in love with the community, hands down.
Yeah.
So now I've been in it about 10 years, PI, and never looking back.
Did you have any preconceived notions coming into this field that were proven wrong?
First of all, I had no idea about this side of the business. Again, defense was my entire life.
Sure.
No, and in fact, I would have to say when I first got in, I loved our community. It was LATLC, and this again 10 years ago. So I was always doing events with like Men Win and charity work, and I was like, oh my God, everyone's amazing. And I
Yeah.
would hear the ambulance chasers, and I'm like, I can't believe they would say this about all these people. And, some of my good friends are like, just wait a little while, wait till you're in it.
Yeah, yeah.
And then certain things would happen, and I was like, oh, that's true. I can't believe people would do certain
Yeah.
things. But for the longest time, no, I would be like, these are the greatest people ever. They fight so hard. And so, no, I've been like hard eyes,
Yeah.
for the longest time.
With respect to those incidents that were not maybe on the up and up, how was it? Were they outlier? Were they common? Tell me a little bit about that.
I would say even now, like when I hear certain things, and I know that it can be common, I see the good in people, and I see how hard, like say for trial attorneys, they leave their families for how long, a trial can run.
Yeah.
And how passionate they are in helping someone. When I see trial attorneys inviting their clients over for dinner, standing and having prayer before they walk into a courtroom, hugging them as they're nervous and they're crying.
Yeah.
Like that's when I say I love our community, that's the people I see and respect.
Yeah. And as you're talking about that, I get like the tingles.
Yeah, I do too. And I cry like sometimes when I watch stories and I'm like, this is what we do and this is why we do it.
Yeah. It's powerful.
It is. And so I tell like even my friends, I'm like, like if you need help, let me know. I can connect you to some of the best attorneys. You can get the best medical care. It's not your fault. So
Yeah.
why should you utilize, your medical, or even if it's not as good, it's not your fault.
Yeah. And so you work with Dr. Nick, and he's well, I'll let you explain what he does and kind of what you guys do and why the access to medical care sometimes might be a better alternative than the traditional healthcare that most everyday Americans have.
So a funny story, so when I first got into PI, my very first week with that firm, LATLC had a casino night. Back in the day, they brought it back, but it's called Casino Night. And that was my first event I was like thrown into. And they would every year they had it at the Fairmont and in Santa Monica. I had no clue what I was, going into. And
What's LATLC before I forget? So
it's Los Angeles Trial Attorneys
okay.
Charity.
Not everyone knows the acronyms that we're talking about. So
Yeah, it's a That's why I always think they're amazing, because they have all these charities, and
They do.
they really give back to the community, which I love so much. But I'm on the dance floor, and here comes, a guy now that I know, Dr. Nick, and we became friends that night.
Yeah.
And
What was your first impression?
who is this guy?
How were his dance moves? Better question.
Again, who is this guy? And he gave me his card, and I was like, okay.
Okay.
And then we had
The typical Denè skepticism. Okay.
all right. Again, I don't even know this industry. I don't know these people. Yeah. And then we had dinner, and we were talking about like collaboration of our firms, and I was like, I'm gonna take my job back on the other side. He's like, no, come work for me. And I was like, no. And now I've been with him like 9 years.
So what was the impetus for the decision to join after that initial dinner where you're like, there's no fucking way, excuse my French?
If you know Dr. Nick, he gets his way. Yeah. He has a great heart. Yeah. And again, I come from a corporate background, and I always tend to work with people who are forward thinkers. Mm-hmm. And they don't just see what's happening today, they see what's happening tomorrow and the next 5 years in the industry.
Yeah.
And so even in my previous lives, even on the Medicare side, my previous employer, he was that way, and he could forecast what was coming down in our industry.
Sure.
And I love forward thinking people, and Dr. Nick is very much so.
Totally.
And he has big heart, and he has a lot of passion. And the other thing I like about him, because when I came over, and I would meet attorneys, and they're like, oh, I have a surgery rack, and in my head, because, I dealt with compliance and rules, rates, all this stuff, I would see, you don't just have a surgery rack. That surgery rack, how old's your client? Guess what? You have a few revisions in there. Uh-huh. What you think is like $100,000 surgery, I'm tallying it up. It's like, it's close to $1 million. You have more than one surgery rack. Because guess what? Or even if it's if your client has an amputation and they need a prosthetic, do they go out in the water? Guess what? They're gonna need a water, like.
Yeah.
I see so much more than an
What's
injection
on that paper,
rack.
right? Yeah.
I see stuff, and so I could come to him and be like, it would be really amazing. I think attorneys are leaving money on the table. It would add value. He's like, let's find him. Who could we bring to the PI side?
Yeah.
And I love that. He's always wanting to bring more to offer to our attorneys.
And not only leaving money on the table, but making sure that the people that we represent were getting the proper medical care, right?
100%. And he wants the best of the best.
Yeah.
And so he's always looking and going and finding them and establishing them, and
So there's a big stereotype out there that we, as a plaintiff's attorneys, refer our clients to these doctors because there's some sweetheart deal. They're padding the medical bills, and there's like a financial kickback sometimes, which I think is bullshit. But how do you guys overcome that objection, or what do you see as your reaction to that constant insinuation from defense attorneys, insurance adjusters, etc.?
Look, I know it happens. The way we are, so we're a directory, for our network. So what is closest to your client's home, school, work location? And we go to the directory and we find, what is the client needing? What was the doctor recommendation? Pain management? Great. What's the zip code? Here's who we have.
Sure.
Who does the client want? Okay, great. We'll go there. They didn't like that one? Okay, here's another option. You want to try this one out? Great. They love this one? Okay, great. We'll go there.
Yeah.
So, in fact, I was at a bar association, a mixer. Uh-huh. And in a bar association, you get defense, you get judges, you can get anyone. Mm-hmm. And I had given my card to whoever I was talking to at the time, and they started asking me questions. And this was again, like, I don't know, like 7 years ago or so.
Uh-huh.
And they started asking me those related questions. And instantly I was like, I think this is on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
And I quickly explained, I'm like, and I was explaining our process. And I
Mm-hmm.
said, and we are set up because I said, I'm going to presume you're on the defense side, correct? And he's like, yes. I go, we're on this side because we can overcome your questions and your objections, and we make it very defensible.
Sure.
So that way it's all about client care and not attorney driven.
Yeah.
And so that's what our objective is to do, is take out the attorney driven care. And it's all about what the client needs, what's closest to them, and they get the care that they need.
Yeah. I always, when people ask me like, hey, should I use my health insurance or go with the attorney's liens? I say, hey, I'm not a medical doctor. But the one thing, and you're free to make whatever decision you want. If you want to use your health insurance, you like your doctors, please do. I'm not one that has firm beliefs on either side. I want to make sure that the client is most comfortable as possible in getting the care they need. What I like about the referral networks like yours, and I always tell people, it cuts through the red tape of the insurance company. And a lot of times your health insurance medical doctors, like a general practitioner, he doesn't know how to treat you as well as these other doctors do. And you're going to get better treatment, get healed faster, and be back on your feet, because we have a duty to mitigate damages. And we want to make sure that our clients aren't lingering in treatment. We want them back on their feet, and we want them to basically not be our client as quickly as possible.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I tell people. Is that true?
100%. Like, even for me, like, you now have to be your own advocate
Mm-hmm.
for your health, personally. When you go, they want to like minimize
Mm-hmm.
your damage, or they're like, it's the flu. And you're like, man, I don't think it is.
Yeah.
And you have to fight. And so, and in our world, a lot of them don't have their own health insurance. And at the end of the day, it wasn't their fault.
Yeah.
So if they don't want to use their health insurance because everyone has a max, they don't have to.
Yeah.
And two, they might not have the best insurance.
100%.
So I tell and I educate, because a lot of times attorneys were like, I have a new case, can you call my client and get them what they need? Or they're towards the end, but they still have pain.
Uh-huh.
Why are you going to act like can live with this when you don't have to? Again, the coverage is there. It's not your insurance, and you have the best of the best.
Yes.
So that's the other thing. We have the best doctors. Get the best coverage. Get the best treatment now. If there's policy and there's coverage,
Take advantage of it. Why not?
Take advantage of it. Because you're paying for the most entry level health insurance. We have like the Cadillac version of health insurance for you.
Uh-huh.
Wouldn't you want the Cadillac version?
Oh, 100 times every day.
Yeah. I don't understand. And and there's already been ruling where there's nothing wrong with lien coverage.
Yeah.
It's just a promissory to pay later.
I always tell people, lien's it's a fancy legal term, but it's essentially an IOU, deferred payment.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Well, it's funny because I go to my friends' trials. I love watching the art of trial.
Uh-huh.
Everyone has a different style. And you know how where you can't talk about insurance.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they could talk about liens all day, every day. And it's like,
It seems a little patently unfair, huh?
it really is. I'm
Yeah.
like, why don't you fight back?
Yeah, so the rules of evidence, man, sometimes
Yeah.
don't jive with common sense, you think. You did mention that you work with the best of the best, and when you were interviewing me, I was talking about the need to self-police a little bit better. When you get wind that there might be some doctor malfeasance or some irregular behavior and they're on your roster of doctors, what do you guys do?
So the difference again with us compared to other networks that are a list is we actually contract our doctors. So other lists, doctors will pay them a marketing stipend monthly. Here's my monthly marketing money, market me,
Yeah.
right? We don't do that. We don't take doctors, doctors don't pay us.
Yeah.
So we contract ours, meaning we're not beholden to the doctor. So if they get into trouble, if they get into any type of SIU, they're naughty, they have bad bedside manner, we cut them.
I
They
and
sleep with
that's-
the fishes.
They do, and I like that because I've had some client feedback, and when as an attorney on my side, you get networked all the time by all these different provider networks, and I love that you explained how you guys work. And this is why I love working with you, because if I get bad feedback from a client, hey, Denè, this doesn't look so great, blah, 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 blah. We're taking action. Done. And so you guys already have a enforcement mechanism built into your system. And I love that you guys do that. And I wish other providers had more, I guess, fail safes or backstops to make sure that some doctors are not being included in there. But that's not the system that they built. So it's coming on us to make sure that we use the right people who have integrity and who have our patients, our clients' ultimate goal of getting better at heart.
That and too, it impacts, can impact the outcome of your case.
Totally.
Because if you're not paying attention and something happens, they get into trouble, they're in SIU. I mean, it can really affect.
Yeah, these insurance companies know, because they have data on all providers, all attorneys, who is not righteous, who's not great, and so they're keeping track, and they're gonna come down and try and drive some people out of business. It's happened.
And sometimes doctors go into SIU unfairly just to slow them down. But and it doesn't make them a bad doctor. But even if that's the case, we still will put them on hold, just because they are in SIU.
Yeah.
And then once that gets cleared up, then we put them back in.
Yeah,
But so it doesn't make them bad. It's
a red flag.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like you said, it's not their own fault. They just got tagged by the insurance company
Because the defense wants to slow them down.
Yeah, and it's that red flag can hamper your client's case, so you got to make sure
100%.
that we're monitoring everything. All right, enough about this legal stuff.
Yes.
So the point of my podcast was to connect with people in my world that I find successful. And you've been doing this a long time now. Well, I won't say too long, but for people that want to get into this field or high pressure sales jobs, what are some lessons that you can give them or disseminate to those people?
It's kind of funny. I really don't view myself as a salesperson. I know my personality categorizes me as sales, but
you push back on the sales. I call you an educator.
I do. I love the education of whatever I do. I love the relationship aspect of it.
So let's call it relationship building through.
But you could say it's like sales and marketing. But if I lost my job, I wouldn't take any sales position because I have to buy into a product. I have to buy into a company. I have to buy into what it is I'm going to be standing behind, right? I couldn't go sell vacuums. I couldn't go sell like a
unless they're Dyson vacuums.
I couldn't do it. Like, you know what I mean? It's just, I'm not a salesperson. Like with Allstate, I educated. I helped protect someone's portfolio. I wrote really good coverage. I didn't write 1530s,
Thank God.
And this is back in the day, we were snobby about it. We wanted to protect your home. We wanted to protect bodily injury.
Yeah.
And also kept your claim count low. So everything was about just education and protecting, and even what I do now. But I understand your question. I believe in always maintaining a good reputation. I think that's important. I can go to any industry that I previously had and I'm accepted.
Sure.
You know, I have people still offering me jobs from a decade, 2 decades ago, you
Yeah.
know? So I think it's always maintaining integrity, being real. I
Yeah.
think, especially this
You're
day and
very
age,
real. You're very authentic.
what you see is what you
Well,
get.
it is 100% true.
But but I think it's, there's so many fake people that, be real, and people respect that,
Yeah.
being kind.
I know when sorry to interrupt, but I'm going
No.
to. Because of the field I'm in, a lot of people come in trying to get your business. And I have pushed back so hard on that because I'm just like, I don't want that. But the moment I met you, I was like, I think our lunch went from like a half-hour lunch into like a 3-hour lunch. And I was like, oh shit, she's cool. She's not the typical person that comes through my door. And we've maintained a friendship for the last almost 10 years.
Yeah.
So what you're saying, I can totally corroborate. You're a very authentic and real person, and what you see is what you get.
You are. And and you meet so many people through this, and some people might not work with me, and you're still my friend. And at one point, something comes up, and they're like, you know what? I need Denè now.
Mm-hmm.
And if someone doesn't work with me, that's never going to get in the way of me being professional, polite, friend, or resource.
Yeah.
People still will text me, be like, hey, do you have this? Or what do you recommend for that? This is me,
There's no reason to be
No.
mean to people if they're not going to give you your business, right?
Oh, no, not at all.
No mean girls.
No, not at all. So I say that, and then I just think that, if as a vendor, as a partner, as someone that's outside going into someone that you're asking for business of or being in that relationship, I think you should hold yourself to a higher standard. The way that you portray yourself, the way you dress, the way you speak, because you're not, you're not an employee of that person that you're asking for the business. So you should step it up a notch.
Yeah.
And even when I am doing business with my friends, when I walk over, you're my client.
Yeah.
And you deserve the best. And I want to earn your business, even if you're my friend, every day. And so that's just a part of my practice.
I think you encapsulated it very well. Authenticity, being yourself, educate people, and have some buy-in.
And definitely know what you're representing.
Yeah.
You should know your product.
Yeah. As you were answering that about dressing well, I'm thinking over here like, shit, I dressed up today for today. Usually I got a backwards hat on and like flip-flops. So I definitely don't fit that mold. But
No, but you're who you are, right? But I will never visit you less than who I am, because that's what you deserve.
Okay, so I want to ask you a question. I think you know what's coming. One time you visited me, and tell everyone about the outfit you were wearing. And the context is, I've known Denè, and almost every time I've seen her, excepting today, she has on these big, bold colors, and she just walks with purpose and confidence. So I'll let you tell us about that day you came into my office.
Well, I think your question was to me earlier, why do I choose bright colors?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it, I mean, I like it, and
Yeah.
I think it has to do with personality. My personality of
Your
it.
personality is big and bold.
Yeah, I mean, in college, we were doing personality and development, and it was breaking down the different personality types. And when we were getting to sanguine, which was like an extrovert, and he was going through the different classifications, and one of the outliers was bright colors.
Yeah.
He was like, basically it's Denè. And I had like a really bright neon green shirt on. And the
Yeah.
whole class like laughed and stuff. But the day that you're referencing, I showed up to your office, and I think I had like a neon orange, like hunter's.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, man, let's go get the guns and go on a hunt.
But to my defense, I think it was like rainy and cloudy that day.
Yeah, it was an
I wanted to be
atypical
very
Los Angeles
safe.
day.
But I think it has to do with probably like personality. I'm kind of drawn to bright and lively.
Yeah. Well, today you didn't dress the bill,
I've toned it down for
yeah,
you.
thank you. But your set's kind of Denè-ish in a little bit of respect.
Dr. Nick likes the bright. We like the 80s.
Yeah. Well, the 80s are probably the best decade I've ever lived in. So
Yeah, there you go.
we have two minds think alike.
That's right.
So you mentioned, I want to go back to the charities, and that's kind of your introduction into the plaintiff's field. Were you surprised that there was so much charitable work going on and the amount of people involved and behind the scenes and the not always doing it for self-promotion?
I don't know if I was surprised, again, because I didn't know anything about PI. I could say I was pleasantly surprised. Growing up, we always were at a nursing home giving back. My aunt always made like chocolates, or, on Sundays we would sing to the elderly. And so growing up, that was a big part of our life. And so I loved LATLC for that, because we get very busy, so doing that on your own is sometimes hard to do, to carve out.
100%.
And seeing them having all of this opportunity to do that, but then seeing and meeting all these top trial attorneys, being on the board, but rolling up their sleeves, sometimes showing up at 4 a.m. for setup. And that's how I met and become friends with a lot of these trial attorneys throughout the years, because I got to serve alongside of them.
Yeah.
And some of them do it as their own, passion projects throughout the communities on their own, that's not tied to LATLC. And so that's how that that's something just truly a part of them, because again, they're in consumer rights. They're for the consumers.
Yeah.
And so they live it day in, day out. So I would say I was pleasantly surprised, because that's something that's kind of dear to my heart.
Yeah. It seems like you found a home.
100%. Like I said, I wouldn't go back, because I love our community so much.
And our community is worth fighting for. So we're rounding the corner, because I know I'm hungry. Is there anyone that you need to give a shout out to as we sit here on Dr. Nick's set? I know you've talked about him a little bit, but do we owe anyone else a quick little thank you shout out?
I would say, there's so many people that I could name since coming to PI. Again, it's 10 years in. So as I see now the trial attorneys present day and how busy they are, I just think back to, when the busy trial attorneys, where they were 10 years ago, and how much time I got with them. And they gave me, I guess, an entrance into PI. They sat down with me. I was with the Mannies when I first got into PI. They sponsored literally everything. Every Tuesday I was at a bar bench lunch or something. And I really thank them, because I wouldn't have known PI without the Mannies in San Diego. And but along with that, and opening their PI practice for LA, I got to know all the trial attorneys in LA, and so I give a shout out to all the OGs, because they become my friends. They opened up and were so welcoming to me. And so I think that's why I have such comfort, and I'm at ease in here, because they just opened, Cala with welcoming arms. And I think it's a general shout out, because there's so many. They were just so welcoming to me.
Awesome. Well, we're happy to have you, and thank you for sticking around. I look forward to having you. The moment you leave is the moment I leave.
Well, we're not leaving.
Well, I'll probably leave before you. So I know you're going on vacation, and I always ask these questions of people. Like, what's on your bucket list? Tell us. I think I hit a 2-for-1. So we were talking off cameras. Tell us about that.
You asked me about my bucket list, and one of my bucket list items was to do an international solo trip. And Wednesday I leave. I'm headed to Paris, as a solo trip. I'm gonna go to London and Belgium, and yeah,
Are you gonna ride the Euro rail? Is that
be big and brave on my own. But I love solo travel.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, international has always been a bucket list of mine. I mean, it's all kind of crazy. I'm like, do you have to be this crazy?
No, you'll be fine. It's I think travel is good for the soul.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm really excited. I'm gonna scratch that off my bucket list.
Okay. So when you're not traveling or working, what's Denè doing? Besides drinking rosé on a porch.
You know, I pretty mellow and tame. I like to read. I like, I'm with my dogs all the time. I live in Santa Monica, so I'm just out and about the neighborhood.
Perfect dog town.
Yeah. I love to cook. I have
still
some
waiting
friends
for
in
my
the
invite.
DJ scene, so I go to their sets all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just an average girl,
Yeah, well, I mean, it's good to have I wouldn't say average, just normal activities that ground you,
Yeah.
You work in a tough industry and you have fun doing it, but a lot of people don't realize the effort you put into doing everything. You go above and beyond. So I think it's good to have your downtime and make sure you're rejuvenating, recuperating.
Appreciate that.
Last question. If you could have dinner with 5 people, past, present, or future, I stole this from a podcast I really like called All the Smoke with Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson. So I have to give them credit. But who would your 5 people? It doesn't have to be 5. You can name as many as you want or as few as you want.
So it's kind of a tough question. I would have some of it would be some political and religious people, which I don't really want to go
If you don't
into.
want to
It's
disclose,
a hot spot, but
yeah.
or a hot topic. But I would have to say if my grandparents passed away when I was at a younger age, so if I could get a moment with them, 100%, they would definitely be on my list. But I think Theo Vaughn would actually be really fun.
Yeah.
Because who knows where that conversation would go to? He's like a walking ADHD guy. I think that would be really fun. But honestly, if I could take like a weed gummy and sit down with like Aristotle and Socrates and talk about life,
Yeah.
I think that would be the coolest thing.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
Philosophical.
I don't have to have dinner. I just want to like get a little high and talk about life with them.
And I know you have good gummies. There's a story behind that one that we can't share.
Latte girl. Speaking of, are you going?
No, not this year. I think I have to be out of town for the weekend, so
Nice.
I will hopefully be there next
That
year.
could be part 2 of him
Hey,
telling you
we
that
should do it
story.
from Lottie Raw. Maybe Bob will let us use one of his fancy sets. Well, Denè, thank you so much. And Dr. Nick, thank you for letting me invade your set. It's been a pleasure. And
No, this has been a lot of fun.
look forward
Thank you.
to part 2 on both fronts.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of Quirky Podcast. I hope you enjoyed diving into another inspiring journey and found some nuggets of wisdom to take with you. If you love this episode, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss a conversation. You can find all our episodes on your favorite podcast platforms and on YouTube. Until next time, stay curious, be inspired, and keep carving your own unique path. Catch you on the next episode of Quirky Podcast.